It's time to talk about the Joker before I've even seen the Joker. So excuse me while I put on a happy face. Let's get started. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Hello, homies one and all. Welcome to Thumb Together. Today we're going to be doing a blind review of the Joker movie together. As usual, if you enjoy this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and give some love to that subscribe button as well. Okay, so the Joker movie is the talk of the town right now, and I mean that in a very broad stroke. Whatever town you live in, Joker is the talk of that place. That seems to be the general consensus. It premiered here in Toronto, where I am, at the International Film Festival to some critical acclaim. It also premiered at the Venice Film Festival, I think, before that, to even more critical acclaim and standing ovations. So I think that this is going to be a very special movie. I think this is going to be something that we're all going to enjoy. So what's going to happen? What happens in the Joker movie? Well, I'm here to tell you exactly how it goes down. Guys, it's 2019, so you know what this means? That means it is A, the 30-year anniversary of the first Batman movie, and B, the 80-year anniversary of Batman himself. And that is special. That needs to be taken into account. So using my powers of foresight, I have deduced, with math and science as well, exactly what the whole plot of the Joker movie is going to be. You ready? Let's dive in. So the movie starts with a bunch of like thugs and stuff, and they're all like evil and robbing banks or something. You know, they're just doing petty crime. When all of a sudden somebody shows up and he's all swathed in purple and he starts fighting off all the thugs. And then one of them is like, "Oh my God, who are you?" And he grabs them and pulls himself into the light and he's like, "I'm Joker." And then he breaks the thug's kneecaps or something and sends him on his way. And we establish the fact that Joker is this heavy presence in Gotham City, and he's just like living his life and fighting crime. Through a series of flashbacks, we find out that Joker is in fact an orphan. His parents died when he was very young. They were murdered by some, unknown criminal assailants on the streets of Gotham, because Gotham is a really violent place to live. And he's been just kind of on his own, in and out of this dingy apartment. He's got a cat, but that's it. It's just him, his cat, and then like some roaches in this tiny, tiny apartment. And he's just trying to live his best life, but that's hard to do. By day, he's a freelance newspaper photographer. By night, he fights crime. He went with the clown motif because this film takes place in the 80s, I think, around the same time that Stephen King's book It hit the shelves. And he realized one day, he's like, hey, you know what? Villains are a superstitious and cowardly lot. They're all afraid of clowns. I'm going to strike fear into their hearts by dressing up as one. Hence, Joker. One day he's stopping some criminal activity when there's this young criminal who's this handsome dude with some dark hair who feels like, he's a bit more special than the other criminals. He gets into a fist fight with Joker, and Joker knocks him into a vat of chemicals, and we fear that that criminal has been killed. But then we see his hand pop out of the chemicals and pull himself out, and we know that this guy's coming back for round 2 eventually. Meanwhile, in Joker's personal life, Joker meets a girl played by Kim Basinger, and the two of them really hit it off. They seem like they're having a good time. Kim Basinger seems like a really cool lady, and it feels like they have this really cool connection going on. She's a reporter for the same newspaper that he works for. He's kind of lower tier. He just does photography once in a while, but she's like a straight-up reporter, so he admires her. She's kind of like this force of nature around the office, and everybody talks about how cool she is. And he's just over the moon because this is his first real girlfriend, and she's this sort of quasi-celebrity figure in Gotham City. So he's really digging it, and the two of them hit it off, and they have a really nice time. But he's at a crossroads, a conflicting crossroads. That's right, because he doesn't want to tell her that he's Joker, because Joker is a well-known figurehead of menace in the community. Everybody knows that there's some guy who runs around at night dressed as a clown. But he doesn't want her to know that because he doesn't want her to be afraid of him and get freaked out and run away because he likes her so much. But Joker is kind of all he has in his life, so he needs to express that somehow. And there's this great conflict of like, how am I going to tell her? What am I going to do? And one morning, they're hanging out, they're in her apartment, and he decides, okay, screw it, I'm going to tell her. So he sits her down and he tries to explain that he is in fact Joker. But before he can get the words out, somebody barges in, covered in bandages, and we're like, oh my God, what's going on? And this person in bandages is holding them at gunpoint, and he undoes the bandages, and we realize it's the guy who was knocked into the vat of acid. And he's like, my name is Bruce Wayne, and I need to talk about how Joker ruined my life. And you're a newspaper reporter, so I want you to cover the story for me. And he kidnaps Kim Basinger's character, and Joker's like, oh God, what am I going to do now? So he's running around trying to figure this out, and he's conflicting with himself because he's blaming himself. She's about to get hurt by this madman, and he's like, that's because she got close to me. That's because of something I did in my crime-fighting life. All I'm doing is leaving a path of destruction in my wake. I don't deserve to be happy. I don't deserve to have this person in my life. I'm just going to be alone forever. And we get this very brooding, melancholy montage of him fighting crime and living his life, but he's not really in it. You know, he's just like a zombie at that point. And we can tell he's just laser focused on trying to right this wrong before it gets out of hand. But can he? That's the real mystery here. Now, while she's in the captivity of this guy named Bruce Wayne, Kim Basinger's character finds out that what Bruce Wayne wants is revenge on the person who messed up his face. And in order to hide his deformities, Bruce Wayne puts on this giant costume that makes his face look like a bat, and he's got these wings and stuff. And he's like, I am the Batman now, and I'm gonna get revenge on this whole stinking city for what it did to me. And he uses her connections with the newspaper to sneak into the newsroom and put out a message on public broadcasting and basically call out the Joker and say, Joker, I know you're real. You're not an urban myth. I know you're out there. You did this to me. Come meet me face to face. I want a rematch. And Joker, who's watching, thinks, okay, good. I can save Kim Basinger's character and I can right this wrong before it gets out of hand. So he sets out to go find this Batman character and put a stop to him once and for all. Unfortunately, the Batman is a smarter villain than he lets on, because he puts on this big parade where he has a lot of floats of people dressed as bats and vampires and stuff. So everywhere you look, there's somebody who kind of looks like the Batman, and it's hard to differentiate. And Joker's running around and he's like, oh my God, where is he? Where is he? I have to find him. And meanwhile, the real Batman is on this giant float and he's throwing money out all over the audience to get everybody worked up into a frenzy, and it's just utter chaos. And finally, the two of them lock eyes, but the Batman runs off with Kim Basinger and climbs to the top of a bell tower on a really big old church, and Joker has no choice but to follow him. What culminates is a climactic fistfight on top of the bell tower, where a shocking revelation is made. As they're fighting, as they're bantering, the Batman says something that makes Joker pause, and Joker realizes that this man, this criminal who dresses up like a bat to inspire fear in the hearts of innocents, is the same small-time petty thug who years ago killed Joker's parents. Oh yeah, we went there. Normally, Joker does not kill. This is not his MO. He doesn't want to end lives. He wants to save them. But he is furious, and he has had enough. And as they're fighting, they're edging closer to the edge of the bell tower, and Joker thinks, all I have to do is give this guy one good push, and I can knock him to his death, and my problems will finally be over, and I'll have my revenge. But at the last second, as he's holding the villainous Batman over the edge of this bell tower, his conscience catches up to him, and he remembers what his parents were like and what they would have wanted for him, and he realizes, this is not who my parents wanted me to be. They wanted me to be something better. And the Joker can stand for something better than this. The Joker does not mean murder. So he pulls the Batman to safety, punches him, knocks him down, and goes to get Kim Basinger and escape, because the Gotham City cops are on their way. Of course, the Batman doesn't take this news well, and he starts to get up to try to get him, but another punch from Joker sends him staggering, and through his own fault, the Batman ends up plummeting off the tower. He falls and falls and falls, and he hits the pavement at the bottom of the church, where he is, of course, killed. This is not how the Joker wanted it to end, but you know what? He could think of worse endings for the evening. So he takes Kim Basinger's hand and he explains to her exactly who he was all this time, and she says, I had a feeling it was you. And they embrace, and they're in love, and they walk off together into the moon set, because it's almost dawn at this point, but not really. And as the police huddle around the remains of the Batman's body, and Gotham slowly starts to celebrate from this dark night it has just emerged from, we cue the closing credits with a song from the artist formerly known as Prince. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what will happen in the Joker movie. Am I wrong? Am I right? Am I somewhere in between? As far as I'm concerned, I am 100% right. Let me know in the comments below what you think will happen. Anyway, that has been a blind review for Joker. I have been Andrew Fantasia. You have been wonderful as always. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you here next time, and until then, adios.